Howdy, this is our group project for the Women's Citizenship Project. I am Julia.
I'm Alexis.
I'm Athena.
My name is Jimena, and today we're going to talk about violence against women.
So our group was specifically interested in the relationship between violence against women and financial dependency. We kind of hypothesized that because uh, women are more economically dependent on their partner, they may have a harder time leaving an unsafe situation. So, according to the article, Domestic Violence Against Women and Their Economic Dependence, there actually is a significant positive correlation between female economic dependency and violence. And this study was unique in that it was the first study that treated incidents of violence as a categorized count variable instead of a count dependent variable. Basically, what that means is that it's the first study that treated incidents of violence as like one, two, three, four instead of overall trend so that they could get more accurate results. And it actually showed that there are a lot more incidents of violence than previously thought. This study said that the discrepancy between women's actual and desired household responsibility is what makes them less likely to engage in market activities that would make them financially independent. And it's this discrepancy that is the root cause of the issue. And then, like we thought, women are less likely to leave their partners if they're financially dependent. And one reason the study cites for this is the wage gap. And then another study that we brought in is called Silent Survivors. And I just thought it was interesting because it talks about how little sexual violence specifically is reported. In the US, it's actually only 31% of rape and sexual assault are reported. And then the study categorized three different kinds of barriers that keep women from reporting. So this might be like individual to you, like disbelief or blame, interpersonal, like power imbalances, or sociocultural, like thinking that you won't get justice anyways. And then I thought it was interesting that the most frequent barriers to formally report sexual violence were fear of consequences. So like getting in trouble or getting others in trouble.
So, what is the Houston Area Women's Center? Obviously, it is based off the Houston area. The Houston Area Women's Center works to help survivors of domestic or sexual violence by providing services such as emergency shelter, counseling, and advocacy for people who've experienced abuse. Sorry. In addition, the program offers long-term support, including crisis interventions, legal advocacy, and community education. By offering these services within the program, it addresses both the survivor's safety's needs, and the overall goal of preventing violence within the community. Overall, this program works to address domestic and sexual violence through a combination of direct services, support systems, and advocacy efforts. And their mission statement is the Houston Area Women's Center works to end domestic and sexual violence and supports all in building safe and healthy lives through advocacy, counseling, education, shelter, and support services.
All right, so now I'm going to talk about the programs and solutions that are offered through this program. So, like Alexis mentioned, they do offer legal advocacy. This is kind of like if you're looking to seek charges to your abuser, they would help you through that process, and that's actually especially important for the cases where the woman is financially dependent, and she kind of needs that separate freedom. They also offer 24 hour, 7 days a week hotlines. They have a separate hotline for domestic violence, sexual assault, and then they have a TTY, which is going to be text only. Basically, if you are in a situation where you cannot speak freely, but you can have access to your phone, a TTY is going to be great. It also works if you're deaf as well and you cannot speak. They do also offer an emergency shelter that comes with 120 beds. They do typically recommend that you contact them 24 hours in advance so that they know to have a bed ready for you when you come, but they do also understand that you can just show up and hopefully they always have a bed available for you. They do also offer counseling. This will basically be like you come to them and basically they'll have therapists on staff to basically guide you through the emotions that you are currently having, and they'll help you cope with them and create basically a healthy mindset. Lastly, they also offer hospital advocacy and support. This is going to be support during rape kits and or recovery from injuries. Basically, because rape kits can be very, very invasive, very humiliating. So they basically would just have somebody with the victim to make sure that they are doing okay while having that done. So now I am going to try to move that. There we go. So some solutions that are offered is going to be, this is kind of a quote from the website. It's HAWC advocates and provides survivors with information and resources to assess their danger and make a safety plan, find shelter, and access services such as legal help and housing options. Survivors and their children fleeing violence and trafficking can receive safety on demand at HAWC's 120-bed emergency residential facility, the only one of its kind in the Houston area, which I personally think is amazing, but I also do think there should be more. So basically, HWAC offers one-of-a-kind support for their survivors, especially in Houston. And they help them get back on their feet after traumatic experiences, both in domestic violence and sexual assault. And it basically can help them, both the survivors and their children, be able to regain a normal and steady life.
Okay, for the funding, we figure we mainly have and see these three goals. Obviously, as we in the Houston program we mentioned, increase the woman's financial independency, try to decrease the violence that this creates. Also increase safety by increasing the access to these resources that we just mentioned on the past slide. And obviously, at the same time, prevent violence and abuse. With this funding, we want to support housing. Money received will support the apartment housing this program provides to victims, such as the beds that we talked about, allows for more availability in emergency shelters so that we can cover more and the program can cover more. Also, the program's funding will increase the education that is given to women and increase the prevention programs and facilities to increase their lifestyle, which can also go to the housings. Also to the hotlines that we mentioned that they are provided 24/7. We want to make the service and the hotlines better and more efficient to be able to provide them, keep providing them 24/7 for everyone that needs it. And lastly, also counseling, just try to increase availability of the sessions to make the victim's mental health better and obviously be able to hire more therapists so that we can increase and aware more space. Next, this is our works cited, and those are the resources that we used.